Salutations, this is Crazed Kitsune, aka Khuma'zi Tayuun, and welcome to Monk for Dummies level 50. In this video, I will be attempting to cover the basics you need to know in order to be a not absolutely horrible monk. I don't know if I'm going to succeed, but I'm going to try anyway. With the intro out of the way, how do you become a monk? Well, monks start as pugilists. For a pugilist to become a monk, they have to get to level 30 or higher, complete their final class quest, which is at level 30, and they will have to have completed the main scenario quest, Self-Management. It's only level 20, so it's not that long. If you meet all three of those requirements, then the job quest that unlocks Monk will be available to you. With how to become a monk covered, we can move on to the stats. First, an apology for any clicking in the video. That's me muting my mic whenever my nose or throat acts up. I'm apparently still suffering from phlegm and excess mucus. Hooray! Anyway, a monk's primary stat is strength. This affects how much damage their abilities will do. They have another stat that is important to them, especially in much later levels, and that is critical hit. There are benefits that they will be able to get from getting lots of crits. I am not yet at the point where that matters, but still, you're going to want lots of crit. With that covered, let's look at actions, traits, and so forth. Since they have a base class, they have class actions. But we're going to start in traits. At level 20, you acquire Enhanced Strength, which gives you 8 more strength, increasing the damage you do. At level 20, you also acquire Enhanced Greased Lightning, which allows you to stack a second Greased Lightning. We'll get to that in a little bit, but this is a good thing. At level 40, you get Enhanced Strength 2, which increases your strength by 16. Even more damage. Gotta love being able to punch things super hard. At level 40, you also acquire Enhanced Greased Lightning 2, which allows you to stack up to 3 Greased Lightning, which is the maximum possible stack. And you definitely want to be sitting at 3 stacks if you can. Now, let's get into the actions for Pugilist. At level 1, we've got Bootshine. This is a global cooldown weapon skill with a TP cost of 50. It has a potency of 140, and if you are in Oppo form, it will be a guaranteed critical hit if done from the target's rear, and it will change you to Raptor form. Raptor form will last for 10 seconds. You may be wondering what Oppo and Raptor forms are. Well, those play into your rotations, specifically Monk's combo system. They combo in a way that is different from any other DPS. They have skills that can only be used in certain forms. After using Bootshine, since you're in Raptor form, you can use True Strike, which is obtained at level 4. True Strike is a global cooldown weapon skill. It has a TP cost of 50, and it has a base potency of 140, which is the same as Bootshine. Why would you use it instead? Because it has a rear positional bonus where it goes up to potency 180. You can only use True Strike if you're in Raptor form, so you can't just randomly True Strike. True Strike will shift you into Coral form for 10 seconds. Coral form will allow you to use Snap Punch, which you acquire at level 6. It is a global cooldown weapon skill with a TP cost of 40. its base potency is 130, so it's weaker than Boot Shine. But if you strike from a target's flank, then its potency 170, which is not quite as strong as True Strike. And it will change you into, and it can, since it can only be used in Coral form, you have to have done Boot Shine into True Strike before you can use Snap Punch. And this will change you into Oppo Oppo form for 10 seconds. Oppo Oppo form will then allow you to use Boot Shine's special rear effect. But on top of that, using Snap Punch to end your combo will grant you a stack of Greased Lightning. This stack will last for 16 seconds. What Greased Lightning does is it increases the damage you deal by 10%, and it reduces the cast time and so forth. It gives you a haste effect of 5%. So each stack gives you 10% more damage and makes you attack 5% faster. And you can stack this up to 3 times. With a full 3 stacks, you're doing a pretty good chunk of damage. At least if you're a high enough level to have 3 stacks. Next up, at level 10, we have Internal Release. This is a 60-second cooldown. Once you activate it, you will have an increased critical hit rate. You will have 30% more critical hit rate for the next 15 seconds. This plays into skills much later on for Monk. At level 15, you have a class quest, I believe, that will give you Fists of Earth. This is a 3-second cooldown ability, and once activated, its effect will remain in play until you activate it again, or use a different Fists of ability. Fists of Earth will reduce the damage you take by 10%. So, there's no reason to not have it if it's the only fist skill you've got. At level 18, you acquire Twin Snakes. This is a global cooldown weapon skill. It costs 50 TP, it has a base potency of 100, and a potency of 130 if used from the target's flank, and it can only be used in Raptor form. Why would you use this instead of True Strike? Because Twin Snakes will apply a 15-second buff to you that increases the damage you deal by 10%. And it will then change you to Coral form for the next 10 seconds. So, you will want to use Twin Snakes periodically in order to keep your damage buff going, so you do more damage with True Strike. At level 26, you gain Arm of the Destroyer. This is a global cooldown weapon skill with a 5 yalm radius around you. It costs 130 TP. It delivers a potency 50 attack to all nearby enemies, so it's not very impressive and it's very expensive. You only really use this when you have a lot of enemies. If you are in Oppo Oppo form, it also has a 1-second silence effect, which can be useful, though is difficult to properly pull off. And it will change you into Raptor form. Yes, this is a combo starter skill. At level 30, your final class quest will reward you with Demolish, a global cooldown weapon skill with a TP cost of 40. It has a base potency of 30 and a rear potency of 70, and it can only be used in Coral form. The reason you use this is it applies a damage over time effect, potency 50, and it lasts 18 seconds. It will also change you into Oppo Oppo form and grant you a stack of Greased Lightning. Yes, Greased Lightning and Twin Snakes will affect Demolish. You will do more damage with your damage over time if you have more stacks of Greased Lightning and you have Twin Snakes up. At level 34, you get Fists of Wind, another 3-second cooldown Fists ability. This will increase your movement speed. You can't use it while you have Fists of Earth. If you activate it, it will replace Fists of Earth. If you use it a second time, then it will just turn off. At level 38, you acquire Steel Peak, a 40-second cooldown which delivers a potency 150 attack. Essentially, you just weave this in during your combos for a little extra damage. At level 42, you acquire Mantra, a 2-minute cooldown which has a 7-yalm radius around you. Once activated, it will increase the effectiveness of healing magic on you and all party members you affected with it for 15 seconds. At level 46, you get Howling Fist. It says it has a 10-yalm radius. That's deceptive. It's a 10-yalm long line. It deals a potency 210 attack to all enemies in a straight line in front of you. It's a 60-second cooldown, and it's generally a good idea to use this on bosses, and you definitely want to be throwing this out during group fights. Finally, at level 50, we have Perfect Balance. This 3-minute cooldown will allow you to execute weapon skills without having to meet the form requirements for the next 10 seconds. That means that you can use 4 of your weapon skills, like 4 of your combo enders, such as firing off 3 snap punches and then a demolish. That's just one example of what you can do with it. I'm not an optimal monk. I don't particularly know what to do with Perfect Balance, and so I often don't use it. Oops. At level 30, when you become a monk, you get Rockbreaker. This is a global cooldown weapon skill that costs 120 TP and is a 5-yalm cone in front of you. It deals a potency 130 attack to everything in a cone in front of you and can only be used in coral form, meaning it's a combo ender and will shift you into Oppo form and grant you a stack of Greased Lightning. When you're in AoE fights, if there are honestly 3 targets, it's probably worth using Rockbreaker at the end of your combos. If you have a single target, definitely not. And if you have a lot of targets, then you're going to be using Arm of the Destroyer, a mid-combo skill such as Twin Snakes, and then Rockbreaker, weaving in Howling Fist whenever it's off cooldown. At level 35, you acquire Shoulder Tackle. This has a 20-yalm range on it. It's a ranged attack, huh? Sort of. This 30-second cooldown is a potency 100 leap attack with a 2-second stun. You can't use it if you are bound. And I believe you do have to be a little bit away from the enemy before it will let you use it as well. At level 40, you get Fists of Fire. This is your 3rd and final Fists ability. If you activate this while you have another fist active, it will replace it. If you activate Fists of Fire a second time, it will turn off. Fists of Fire increases the damage you deal by 5%. So you're gonna want to have this turned on when you're punching things. At level 45, you acquire One Ilm Punch. This is a global cooldown weapon skill that costs 120 TP. It is a potency 120 attack that can only be used in Raptor form, meaning it's a 2nd stage combo attack. And it applies a 1-second stun. This stun is immune to stun nullification. So even if an enemy has become immune to stunning from other people hitting them with a bunch of stuns, One Ilm Punch will still work. It will shift you into coral form. Using One Ilm Punch effectively to stun an attack may be difficult, since you will need to be in Raptor form to use it. And lastly, at level 50, we have Dragon Kick, a global cooldown weapon skill with a TP cost of 50. Its base potency is 100, and it has a flank damage potency of 140, making it as powerful as Bootshine. You'll notice it doesn't have a form requirement. That's because it's a combo starter. It does have an Oppo form bonus, which reduces the target's blunt resistance by 10%, allowing you to do even more damage. This debuff will last for 15 seconds. And once you use Dragon Kick, you shift into Raptor form so that you can then use your second combo skill, and then your third. Oops. With the skills that are specific to Monk covered, let's look at role actions. Once you have unlocked a role action slot, it appears to be permanently available to you even when level synced. Once you've learned a role action, you can put it in a role action slot and then use it by having it on your crossbars and keeping it there, or your hotbars if you're not using a controller. At level 8, you learn Second Wind, a 2-minute cooldown, which is a 500 potency self-heal that is stronger the more attack power you have. I should mention that as a melee DPS, you share your role action selection with Samurai, Dragoon, and Ninja. At level 12, you unlock Arm's Length. This is a 60-second cooldown that will make you immune to knockback and draw-in effects for 5 seconds. If you are struck while this is in effect, it will apply a 20% slow for 15 seconds to what struck you, I assume. If it gives you a 20% slow, that would make this a horrible skill, and I don't think anyone would ever use it. At level 16, you unlock Leg Sweep, a 40-second cooldown stun that will last for 3 seconds. You could put this on, but you have a stun of your own, and you have one in punch. I suppose if you need lots of stuns, you might need to cycle this in somewhere. At level 20, you unlock Diversion, a 2-minute cooldown that will, for the next 15 seconds, severely reduce the amount of enmity you generate, making it harder for you to accidentally steal the enemy's hate off the tank. If you're getting close to the tank's aggro, you might want to pop this. I don't know if you actually need it on Monk or not after Stormblood's release, so I threw it on just to be safe. At level 24, you acquire Invigorate, a 2-minute cooldown that will instantly restore 400 TP, almost half of your TP. In prolonged fights, you're going to find yourself needing this, especially if you're doing AoE. At level 32, you unlock Bloodbath, a 90-second cooldown that will convert some of the physical damage you deal into healing for the next 20 seconds. At level 36, you unlock Goad, a 3-minute cooldown that will apply a 30-second TP refresh to your targeted party member. You can't use it on yourself, but I still suggest you have it so you can help out your team. At level 40, you acquire Feint, a 2-minute cooldown which will reduce the strength and dexterity of the targeted enemy by 10% for the next 10 seconds. Useful if a physical tank buster is coming out. At level 44, you unlock Crutch, a 90-second cooldown that can be used on any party member within a 30-yalm range of you. It will remove bind and heavy effects from them. You can't use it on yourself. And lastly, at level 48, we have True North. This is a 2.5-minute cooldown, which will nullify the direction requirements of your skills for 15 seconds. I don't have it on because, honestly, I sort of like dancing around. But activating True North will allow you to get the positional effects of your skills even if you're standing right in the enemy's face instead of going to their flank or their rear. With all that covered, let's go get to the demonstration. These striking dummies are convenient demonstration victims, we'll call them. Hee hee hee. Oh, you can use shoulder tackle even when you're hugging the enemy. Good to know. But, let's see here. Hate management isn't going to be important, so I'll just use diversion to show it off. I can't use goad. There won't be any real healing going on, so mantra, go. Now let's see here. Let's activate Fists of Wind for a second. As you can see, I'm moving a little bit faster. Now let's throw on Fists of Earth, and you see me slow down. Now let's turn on Fists of Fire, because this is the one that's going to matter. Alright. Let's demonstrate Arm of the Destroyer, and One Elm Punch, and Rock Breaker. Those are your primary AoE skills. And Howling Fist. So, that's all of your AoE demonstrated. Here, have a Steel Peak. And a Shoulder Tackle. Alright. Well. Internal Release. Perfect Balance. Snap Punch. Snap Punch. Snap Punch. Demolish. Boot Shine. Boot Shine in True Strike. Snap Punch. Dragon Kick. Twin Snakes. Demolish. Let's make him stupid. Boot Shine. True Strike. Snap Punch. Dragon Kick. Twin Snakes. Demolish. Boot Shine. True Strike. Snap Punch. Boot Shine. True Strike. Steel Peak. Snap Punch. Dragon Kick. Twin Snakes. Demolish. Boot Shine. Internal Release. True Strike. Snap Punch. Howling Fist. Shoulder Tackle. Crappy Boot Shine because I'm dumb. True Strike. Snap Punch. I'm screwing up. Yay! Dragon Kick. Twin Snakes. Demolish. But that's everything shown off, I do believe. I obviously royally messed up the rotation. I'm fairly inexperienced, but I'm pretty sure you go through, on single targets anyway, you would go through a Boot Shine, True Strike, Snap Punch combo, and then you would do a Dragon Kick, Twin Snakes, Demolish combo, because they don't last too terribly long. You might be able to go for two Boot Shine, Snap Punch, two Boot Shine, True Strike, Snap Punch combos before you do a Dragon Kick, Twin Snakes, Demolish combo, since their buffs do last for 15 seconds. But your weapon skill time is, like, it's a 2.5 second cooldown for your global cooldowns, so it will be very tight. I personally, and I'm sure this is suboptimal, just cycle the combos one after the other. And I can't remember if I was getting my positionals correct, so let me just go check all of that. Twin Snakes is a flank damage, so yeah, so I definitely would be using that with Dragon Kick because it's rear, and True Strike is rear along with Boot Shine. I mean, if you felt like being super dancy, you could do Boot Shine, Twin Snakes, Demolish, or Dragon Kick, True Strike, Snap Punch, but why make it more complicated than it needs to be? And of course, there are no positional bonuses on Arm of the Destroyer, One Elm Punch, or Rock Breaker. And yes, I don't know the best uses for Perfect Balance. Hopefully people will discuss optimal in the comments section of my video and be civil and polite about it. I will be policing my comments section, people. Anyway, You saw me weave in Steel Peak for extra damage during my combo, which is pretty much all it's for. Shoulder Tackle you can use for extra damage if stuns aren't important. If stuns are important, don't weave it for damage, because you're going to build a stun immunity that only you can overcome using 1M Punch, which won't be easy to work around. If you do need to stun something, you do have Shoulder Tackle for it. Use Internal Release whenever it's off cooldown for the increased critical hit rate, because crits are more damage, and once crits are more important than just more damage, well then they're even more important. Use Feint if a physical tank buster is going to be happening soon. If you're getting close to the tank's hate, use Diversion. Oh, I did not demonstrate Invigorate, so let me just Arm of Destroyer spam. It's going to be the fastest way to burn out some TP. And it also looks pretty ridiculous. I'm not entirely sure what's happening other than I'm apparently doing anime. And, yeah. 400 TP instantly recovered. Very useful. If you know raid-wide damage is about to affect the entire party, you may want to throw up Mantra to make it easier for the healers to get everyone's health back up to full. If you see a party member who uses TP is running low on TP, throw a goad at them. They'll probably thank you. Make sure to be using the appropriate fists when possible. If you're level synced to the point where you only have access to Fists of Earth or Fists of Wind, you can use those. If you're not expecting to take much damage, you might as well stay in Fists of Wind just to make it easier to get into your positions for positionals. If you know damage is about to come at you, you can always switch on Fists of Earth to reduce the damage. But once you have Fists of Fire, you're going to want to have this one on almost all the time. There may be situations where you need to move faster, so you'll throw on Fists of Wind. There may be times where you might want to reduce the damage that's about to come to you, so you'll throw on Fists of Earth. I'm sure fist dancing is going to be an important thing, but still, 9 times out of 10, Fists of Fire is what you want. And that's everything I can think of. Hopefully this video has been informative and helpful to you. If not, I will have to meditate on my errors and attempt to do better in the future. Until my next video, goodbye.